Welcome to today's video. Today we're actually outside Belgium's the Chocolate Museum. If you like this video, then please subscribe and enjoy this video. So this is where the tour begins. You can call your guide in English. Avec du truc de caca, voilà.
Kijk uit als Kijk!
Is op zijn vet. Ja, 0-2. Dan rennen we daar.
Hollowed out, dried, and used as containers. The cups are often decorated, engraved, and sometimes painted. Some crafts manage to give them particular shapes close to art by fixing ties around the roots on the tree.
Cups have three feet. There is often either a cocoa bean or a ceramic ball in these feet. Before drinking, the priest shook the cup, which caused a noise, supposed to chase away evil spirits. Same thing with the toast. And you, Pedro, what did
traders carried quetzal feathers and jaguar skins. Merchants were therefore armed. This is what I can surmise by looking at these statues. Weapons are symbolized by a stick. The caravan of carriers traveled at night and to be less visible, the hands and faces of the merchants were painted black. During their rituals, small tubes that contain cocoa, mushrooms, and juice from hallucinogenic guiana. When the shamans prepared the cocoa beverage for sacred rituals, they pierced their ears with one of these.
Not have escaped you. It is what gives a precious character to this scene. All the more precious, considering the walking time needed to bring the beans from the plantations to the cities. And sometimes even more incredible, cocoa has so much value for the Aztecs that they even used it as currency. And yes, the Aztecs exchanged their beans for other beans and markets. 1 bean for a tomato, and 10 beans for a rabbit. There is no doubt now that cocoa is priceless in the but not for nobles, civilians, and merchants could enjoy it. The Aztecs also used obsidian or lava stone, as well as copper axes or knives as a trade value. Obsidian or carved flint blades were used in religious ceremonies.
An indispensable tool for the preparation of the drink is the metate, a grinding stone on which the cocoa beans are crushed. We found ancient stones like this, but metates are still used today to crush corn to make tortillas, for example. Mounted on 3 legs, this volcanic stone is slightly inclined to facilitate crushing by hand using the mano. The stone is heated from underneath, which makes the cocoa butter soften. The paste obtained is mixed with spices. It is then put into water to prepare the typical drink.
We disembarked in these new lands and headed towards the city of the Mexicans. An embassy from Moctezuma came to speak to us. He was the tyrant of the region whom the people in the environment feared.
The two-headed man began to tell me. My spies responded. This is the eternal return of the god Quetzalcoatl. They are out of this divine force. We are going to offer them riches and submission to their chief on the other side of the large expanse of water. They will then
Choice number 20.
We sued for peace against payment of tribute and vassalage to the King of Spain, if we did not draw them closer to Mexico. I will not give them my answer now. We have not fulfilled our mission in these ungodly places. Marching around towards the city of the North when Moctezuma came to meet us, carrying him as his
they want to take advantage of the tensions with our neighbors to foment chaos. I am offering we also serve sacred metals to crush the copper and reserve
He welcomed us like guests of honor, showed us the city, and watching one of his pieces. Took the bread, a slice of bread.
It's on that too.
are also some in private or even close. Getting foam is not self-evident. You need a good hand. I suggest you try it by the side. Here is a sugarcane press, which is used to extract sugar. How does it work? The sugarcane stalks are as they turn, the stalks are pressed. These old presses, often made of wood like this one, are imposing and heavy. The work is still
Chocolate would occupy center stage in living room, as on this painting, which represents the Frontier fruit. King Louis XIV was not fond of this beverage, which deceives hunger but does not fill the stomach. His wife, Marie Therese of Austria, on the other hand, was very fond of it. She consumed it. And chocolate, a passion that she passed on to Louis XV, prepared to drink himself.
Madame de Sévigné depicts the habits of the French court. In this correspondence, she mentions chocolate. In February 1671, she writes, "You do not feel well. You have not slept. Chocolate will make you well." But 2 months later, her opinion is changed. I no longer consider chocolate the way I used to. Fashion has all those who spoke well about it now speak. The arrival of Marie Antoinette in Versailles in 1770, new profession and a new flavor. Chocolatier Isabelle means queen of chocolate. In preparing chocolate and inventing new recipes. Marie Antoinette liked chocolate with sugar and vanilla. Also, orange blossom or sweet almonds. But as the beans are an imported material, local beverage remains a luxury product.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Madame de Montpellier, one of the favorites of
Oh, very
Louis,
fast.
was known
Yeah.
for her rather irritable temper. She tried to awaken her senses by drinking cocoa, which she considered an aphrodisiac. At that time, inviting a lady to drink chocolate left no room for doubt about the seducer's real intentions. Famous Casanova considered chocolate as a food lover.
My friends sometimes call me the antiques dealer, given the quantity of pieces I collect from my research. Isn't that so, Pedro? All that's left to do is serve. In a cup, of course. There are different kinds, but as I have a mustache, there is one that I particularly like. The mustache cup, which has a little rim integrated into the cup, simply so that you will not dirty your mustache. What about you, Pedro? What's your favorite cup?
I am in love with the replica cup. Sauce. Whereas the cups come in a variety of shapes, they all have one thing in common. They are large,
Never without my chocolate. Personally, I always have a bar of chocolate. At the French court, they even love making a travel box containing a chocolate set. Thermos or bain-marie used to keep the chocolate beverage at the right temperature. Beautiful objects in copper and porcelain, as you can see here.
Offer or preserve solid chocolate, we're gradually seeing the arrival of or chocolate boxes.
Look at these
In
funny
Bruges,
boys.
I ended up finding some exceptional items like these half figurine lids. These little babies hold these ever so elegant, decorated lids of boxes and ornaments. Some are used in the dress of chocolate drink form.
The heart of my first workshop, which was set up his workshop from the beginning of the 19th. This is where the work begins. To prepare the chocolate, the cocoa beans must be roasted first. Once cooled, they are roasting the beans is the chocolate tastes and makes it easier to remove the shell. The shell is not edible and therefore does not enter the chocolate making process. To prepare chocolate, the main utensils are the mortar and the grinding stone. This cast iron mortar is used to grind the cocoa beans. The marble mortar is in turn used for refining the sugar and spices. And everything here is still done by hand.
As our research progressed, we became true chocolate lovers, and we collected more and more objects. Here, for example, you can admire a set of utensils used to prepare the drink. Mortars to crush the spices, cutters and graters to create small chips that melt more easily in water, and then copper chocolate pots to serve the drink.
Milk is added to the chocolate gradually. As I was able to read in a recipe for chocolate in the famous encyclopedia written in 1751 by Denis Diderot, sugar, cinnamon, egg, and chocolate, of course, are mixed with water and milk. It is therefore not uncommon to see jugs and milk jugs like these in the workshops. It is somewhat the same for solid chocolate. It was the Swiss Daniel Peter who in 1876 had the idea of adding powder, which was supplied by his friend and neighbor Henri Nestle. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Other innovations preceded milk chocolate. Let's go further to discover them. Remember, Pedro, what these machines were used for? The first one was used to wash the fermented beans, wasn't it?
Yes, this machine is used to wash the beans after fermentation. The next stop is to roast or toast them, used to grill the beans at about 180 degrees.
And then the cocoa beans were crushed.
Yes, this is done in the mill. The resulting paste
This is called refining. What are the machines displayed next used for?
They're used to prepare the cocoa to crush almonds, for example, and the last one is used to prepare ganache.
As you can see, the power of cocoa has always fascinated me. Combined with sugar, crushed, refined, and mixed for long hours, we obtain an alliance between strength, power, sweetness, and pleasure. That's why I think chocolate is a magical food. The most important invention of the 19th century was by Koenraad van Houten. This Dutch chemist invented cocoa powder. In 1828, he developed a hydraulic press capable of separating the cocoa powder from the butter contained in the bean, a process this made it more digestible when consumed as a drink. The extracted butter could now be used in chocolate paste. By adding butter for the manufacture of figurines, for example, the demolding process is made easy because the cocoa butter shrinks while solidifying. This press has contributed to great advances in the world of chocolate. Good old Van Houten. I should think of thanking him.
Why don't you do that? You don't do it
Look
like
at all
that.
these
You
shapes
do
and
the other
details of each object. I can already imagine the delicious chocolates that can be created with these molds. You will notice it by taking a close look at this showcase. There are different materials. Initially, the chocolate makers used existing molds, models in plastic, rather intended for marzipan, in tin used for ice cream, or in iron for sugar figurines. But the test did not prove conclusive. The chocolate makers then experimented with copper, which oxidizes easily, and iron, which is very heavy. The arrival of plastic materials finally made it possible to create adapted, lighter molds. In bakelite first, an invention of the Belgian bakeland in 1920. Chocolate makers have been using polycarbonate since the 1980s. In present day, it gives the chocolate a shine. It does not pose any demolding problems. Molds are also lighter.
sorts of shapes, and chocolate makers are not lacking in imagination, especially during festive periods such as Valentine's Day, Easter, St. Nicholas, and Christmas. 4 very important holidays during which craftsmen and manufacturers generate the lion's share of their annual turnover. And then, did you spot the swan-shaped mole? It's the symbol of the city of Bruges.
Just fit it to the truth that all the food used to buy us is now in the museum.
The list is obviously not exhaustive, and here are some other Belgian inventions. The chocolate bar, ideal for small cravings, this 30 to 40 gram milk chocolate was invented in 1907 by Croix. In 1935, Maurice Cornet invented the Manon sucre, a praline that combines the smoothness of fresh cream, the crunchiness of nougatine, and the bitterness of walnut kernels. A few years later, in 1969, Leonidas invented the Manon Café. Praline is made with coffee, buttercream, praline, and hazelnut, all coated with white chocolate. Godiva has distinguished itself above all for the creation of its truffles, which do not require molds. The hardened ganache is dipped in chocolate, then coated with cocoa.
Mommy, I want some more chocolate.
Are real ingredients. The technique used for the decoration of these boxes entails mixing under glass. The painting is done on the back of the glass and in reverse. What is painted first on a painting should be painted last on the glass. In this way, once finished, all the details come out perfect. Porcelain is sometimes even crystal clear in the boxes.
Belgium is known above all for its famous praline, a small piece of chocolate with a filling inside. And Jean Neuhaus, grandson of a Swiss pharmacist living in Brussels, who had the idea in 1912 to create these little filled chocolates. Coffee flavor, marshmallow, raspberry ganache. The praline is available today in a variety of flavors. The great classic remains the original praline, the filling made of hazelnuts, almonds, pistachios, and sugar.
Mommy.
Pralines were packed in paper cones. In 1950, Jean Neuhaus's wife, Louise Agostini, designed a practical rectangular box to protect her husband's creations.
1935.
Dark, white, milk. What's your favorite chocolate? Mine is dark, the one with the most cocoa. Dark chocolate is a mixture of cocoa mass with sugar. For milk chocolate, we add milk. What about white chocolate? What makes it white? The fact that it does not contain cocoa mass. White chocolate is made of cocoa butter, sugar, and milk. The proportion of ingredients will also define the taste of the chocolate. Let's take dark chocolate, for example, my favorite dish we'll have gathered. The amount of cocoa in a dark chocolate can vary in Belgium from 45% to 100%. The percentage given is the combined amount of cocoa mass and cocoa butter. The rest is sugar, so you can easily understand that the higher the cocoa percentage, the lower the sugar content, and the more bitter the chocolate will be.
Chocolate makers have nothing to envy the great advertisers. They quickly understood the importance of marketing, especially during major events such as world fairs. During Expo 58, for example, Godor launched its famous Dessert 58 bar. The different Belgian brands will thus create various advertising items like those displayed in front of you. And then there are the picture books. That's what I enjoy the most. By eating chocolate, children could collect vignettes and learn about the world and its history. If that doesn't want to make you buy chocolate.
The first steam engines to grind cocoa beans were used around 1795. The machines gradually became electric, but when I developed my own installation, I wanted to combine the ancient with the modern. What do you think of my retro, futuristic work? Isn't it just great? For its creation, I recovered pipes, gears, wheels, and from some of the oldest chocolate factories in Europe. Everything is here. The beans are first roasted, and the shells are first inside is crushed several times. Sugar and possibly milk are added. The paste obtained is then pumped, but let's see it in more detail. Come closer to the porthole of each machine so you can see my installation in it.
To begin with, the beans are roasted or toasted at a temperature of around 120 degrees. The roasting process brings out the much appreciated chocolate taste. Air is blown in this machine to release the shells. These are used as fertilizer in the gardens. The interior, known as cocoa nibs, is carefully preserved to continue the chocolate making process.
Where's the shower?
The beans are ground under these large cylinders, more and more finely, to obtain a paste called the cocoa mass. The ground mass is poured into the mixer first. The other ingredients are then added according to the desired recipe. It is therefore necessary to pay attention to the percentage of cocoa, but also to the added sugar and milk for milk chocolate. The mixture is then refined between these 5 cylinders. Belgium is known for a particularly fine refining process, which does not leave any lumps in your mouth when you eat a piece of Belgian chocolate. Last step, the conching. This is a mixing process that can take up to 24 hours. It gives the chocolate its smoothness. Belgium stands out from other countries because of the length of the conching process, which makes Belgian chocolate very sweet. The word conch comes from the Spanish concha, which means shell, and refers to the shell shape of the first mixers.
Tasting chocolate. Yes, it is an art, and it is better not to rush if you want to discover the array of flavors that a piece of chocolate can deploy. And it is not only the taste buds that are concerned. The 5 senses are awakened when we eat a piece of chocolate. Sight, to admire the chocolate square or the praline. Touch, to appreciate the texture, but not too long because the chocolate melts in the hands. Hearing, to hear the crunchy side of a perfectly tempered chocolate. Smell and taste, to smell and appreciate the flavors. Belgian chocolate is world famous. The different brands mentioned so far, and many others have of course contributed to this fame. Do you know where the most chocolate is sold? In airports. All over the world, airport stores have a corner reserved for Belgian chocolate so that travelers can take this delicious treat with them. The reputation of Belgian chocolate is also linked to the quality of our ingredients. The quality of the beans used guarantees an incomparable taste. The long maturing process ensures the fineness of the product, and a long conking process eliminates acidity and enhances the cocoa's flavor. The chocolate that is industrially produced and then sold to chocolate makers and craftsmen is called couverture chocolate. The only company that produces couverture chocolate today, and those owners are still Belgian, is Belcolade. Created in 1988, the company stands out from the competition by offering its chocolate produced in the purest respect of Belgian traditions. The taste of the chocolate obviously varies depending on its composition, and thus on the percentage of cocoa, but also on the variety of beans used. Each variety develops particular aromas and, as with wine, these aromas can be identified by taking the time to taste. To guide on this discovery of flavors, Belcolade has developed the Cyrano box, an olfactory experience for distinguishing the aromatic profiles of the various cocoa beans. This has enabled Belcolade to create its assortment of chocolates of very specific origin and different from each other. A good example of unique cocoa taste is the one cultivated by the Kunas Indians, who live in the mountains of Panama. Cocoa is totally part of their living, from birth till death, insofar that they feed on a mixture of cocoa and plantain bananas. Here we are in front of a nursery. These small trees must grow to 30 centimeters before they can be planted in the shade of banana trees, for example. Because cocoa trees are fragile and must be cared for. On my first trip to the plantations in Chiapas, Mexico in May 2014, I arrived in the middle of harvest time. There are actually 2 harvests a year, from April to July, and September to December. The pods and ears are fed with harvest beans and a stick with a knife on top to cut the stem without hurting the tree. Once detached from the tree, the pods are opened in the shed, and the cocoa beans are recovered, surrounded by a white and sweet pulp. I helped the planters with this task. I had fun counting the number of beans in each pod. There are about 40 of them. These beans are then fermented in these big wooden boxes that you have in front of you. The beans are transferred to the box below every second day. During 6 days of fermentation, the heat increases and the molecules are transformed and give a first level of chocolate flavors.
You have to eat chocolate every day. Share it with friends and family. Help people. Eat on the go.